Low iron can make you tired, especially once you're over 50. But as a retired doctor, I missed the signs of iron deficiency in my own body because I wasn't anemic. So in this video, I'll run through the signs of low iron that you might have missed, the blood tests that actually matter for diagnosis, and the simple diet changes that help your body to absorb more iron so you can boost your energy levels. Let's start with my story, because even knowing what I know, it took me an embarrassingly long time to realise there was something wrong. Last year, I made a video about my hair falling out. I blamed menopause, either the menopause itself or my HRT, because I take testosterone as well as estrogen and progesterone, and that can cause hair loss. So I stopped the testosterone and gave it several months, but the hair kept on falling. I had a medication review from the nice pharmacist at my GP practice, mentioned the hair loss, and he wisely recommended some blood tests. I'll come on to what those tests were in a moment, but the upshot was I had something called iron deficiency without anemia. Iron is important. It makes up a significant part of the hemoglobin molecules in our red blood cells, which carry oxygen around the body. When we are very low in iron, it affects the manufacture of hemoglobin. We make less of it and become anemic. But here's the thing, you can be iron deficient without the anemia when the body's iron stores dropped. And I had completely missed it. I had literally no idea. And as a retired doctor, the irony is not lost on me. And I'm in good company because iron deficiency is the most common nutrient deficiency worldwide. And it can still cause symptoms, even if it doesn't make you anemic. And it's underdiagnosed because it's not always picked up on routine blood tests. So there are a lot of women out there who are iron deficient but just don't realise, like me. And because it's easy to miss, it's worth running through why midlife women are prone to iron deficiency in the first place, so you can identify the risk factors. Firstly, blood loss, and the obvious one in women is periods. And around the perimenopause, these can become heavy and irregular, leading to a significant monthly blood loss. But we can lose blood elsewhere in the body, for example, in the bowel. So if you've noticed blood in your poo or dark poo, particularly if you've had pain, weight loss, or a change in your bowel habits, such as ongoing diarrhea or constipation, then you need to speak to your doctor urgently. Blood donation can cause it too, and this study showed that 35% of blood donors in the US are iron deficient. The second group of causes is low intake, so not eating enough iron, and this is more likely in vegetarians and vegans, or not absorbing enough iron due to underlying gut problems, for example, celiac disease or inflammatory bowel disease. And in me, it was a mixture. I'm going through the menopause, and prior to disappearing, my periods had been heavy. I donate blood every 3 months to make eye drops. Yes, it's a genuine treatment for my rare eye condition. And it turns out my diet needed a few tweaks too. Keep watching to the end to find out what. So, iron deficiency in midlife women isn't always down to one thing, it's often several causes overlapping. But knowing why iron deficiency occurs is all well and good. The harder question is whether you'd recognise it, because I didn't. So I'll tell you what to look out for. So number 1, hair loss. The body needs to prioritise how it uses its limited supply of iron, and unfortunately, hair is expendable. Number 2, weak nails, again, expendable. There is a specific sign in iron deficiency, which is vertical ridges in the nails. And nails can even become so weak they curl upwards at the sides like a spoon. It's called koilonychia, literally meaning spoon nails. Now, I have those vertical ridges, mainly on my thumbnails, so why oh why did I not pick this up? Well, because I knew I wasn't anemic. They test my hemoglobin levels every time I donate blood, so I knew it was okay. I simply failed to appreciate how significant iron deficiency without anemia can be, and evidently I just didn't pay that much attention to my thumbs. Number 3, tiredness, and in particular intolerance of exercise. This can occur even if you aren't anemic, and yep, I had this. Specifically, I noticed that I was getting out of breath more on my Peloton bike and walking up hills. And I just assumed my fitness had dropped because I hadn't been sleeping so well because of the menopause. Number 4, brain fog. Yep, definitely had this and I still do. Again, blamed the menopause. Number 5, restless legs. Now, I didn't have this, but it is a recognised symptom. Number 6, a swollen, sore tongue. I didn't have this either. Number 7, something called pica. This is a craving for weird things like chalk, and I definitely didn't have this. When iron deficiency progresses to full-blown anemia, it can also cause headaches, palpitations, shortness of breath and pale skin. So my gothic pallor isn't anemia, by the way. I naturally have a skin tone that would make a vampire jealous. But I still failed to spot my iron deficiency, and I have a flipping medical degree. Although in my defence, my job was reporting scans of the chest in the living and the whole body in the recently deceased. So I know what kills people, but I didn't know very much about low iron. Well, I do now because I'm training to be a registered nutritionist, but I hold my hands up and own this mistake. I missed it. And this is the crucial point. Many of the signs I've described are not very specific and also seen in menopause, where we expect to feel a bit shit. And this is precisely why iron deficiency in midlife women is so easy to miss. I've made a helpful fact sheet about iron. I share these in my Fed and Focus community, but you can have a copy. The link is in the description below, although please note it's for information only, not medical advice. Now I'll tell you about how iron deficiency is diagnosed, but for it to make sense, you first need to understand how iron behaves in the body. Iron is incredibly toxic. It causes cell damage. We don't even excrete iron through our kidneys. Our blood levels are carefully controlled by regulating how much is absorbed from the gut. So if it's dangerous, but iron is so important, how do we deal with this conundrum? Well, once it's in the body, iron is never left to its own devices where it can cause trouble. It's always bound to a protein, and there are 2 important ones that you need to know about. Firstly, ferritin. This is what binds iron when it's stored, mainly in the liver, spleen and bone marrow. Secondly, transferrin. This is the protein that moves iron around the body. So we don't measure free iron in the body, we measure the protein. And most commonly, we measure ferritin. But ferritin can also be raised if there's inflammation in the body somewhere, so sometimes we measure transferrin instead. Specifically by measuring something called transferrin saturation, which is a measure of how much of your transferrin is loaded up with iron, and it's given as a percentage. So if you've ever wondered why your doctor measures ferritin rather than iron directly, now you know. And if your doctor suspects iron deficiency without anemia, let's talk about exactly how it's diagnosed and the treatment. The World Health Organization defines iron deficiency as a ferritin of less than 15 micrograms per litre. Although many organisations around the world, including the NHS, take a pragmatic cutoff of less than 30. Mine was 10, by the way. A transferrin saturation of less than 20% is also diagnostic. And this is key. Measuring haemoglobin is pretty common, but your blood test can show a normal haemoglobin, so no signs of anemia, but your body iron stores can be low. And it's only picked up if you specifically look for it by measuring ferritin or transferrin. Now, don't get me wrong, these are common blood tests too, and if you go to your doctor feeling tired, they will almost certainly request them. I just want to make it clear that firstly, ferritin is a measure of iron, as I have had some clients get confused on that. And secondly, a lack of anemia doesn't mean all is fine and dandy with your iron levels. In terms of treatment, the mainstay is iron supplements because it's hard to replace iron stores from diet alone. There are various preparations, both tablets and liquids. They can cause gut side effects like constipation or gastritis, so an inflammation of the stomach lining. I got gastritis and it took me a lot of trial and error with different brands. Taking iron supplements every other day can also help, so it's one to discuss with your doctor. So iron deficiency is straightforward to diagnose and treat, but, and this is an important but, we need to be safe because we can take too much iron, so make sure you get the diagnosis from your doctor first before starting any supplements. Moving on to food, how do you support your body's iron stores through diet? Because a few simple changes can make a real difference to how much iron your body absorbs. There are two types of iron in food, heme and non-heme. Heme iron is more readily absorbed, between 2 and 6 times more than non-heme, and it's found in meat and fish. Non-heme iron is found in eggs, fortified foods and plants including lentils, beans and chickpeas, dark green leafy vegetables, nuts and dried fruit. The absorption of non-heme iron is enhanced by vitamin C, so pair your iron-rich foods with citrus fruits or bell peppers. And there's also a few foods which block iron uptake, most notably calcium, compounds called phytates in beans and legumes, and compounds called polyphenols in tea and coffee. And this was one of the problems with my diet. I had been prioritising calcium-containing foods to look after my bones, but this wasn't helping my iron levels. So you don't need a massive dietary overhaul, but a few timing tweaks can make a real difference. Don't eat your iron-rich foods with foods high in calcium like dairy and leave it at least 1 hour before drinking tea or coffee. I'm an omnivore and I've also made an effort to eat a little bit more red meat, which Mr. Machin is very happy about indeed. And something is working because I had my ferritin rechecked last week. I've still got the bruise on my arm and it's up to 48. So now I only have the menopause to blame for occasionally feeling a bit rough around the edges. So when it comes to iron, it's not just what you eat, it's what you eat it with and when. And now you've got everything you need, the signs to look for, the tests to discuss with your doctor, and the dietary changes that support your iron levels every day. And if you're thinking about your nutrient intake after menopause, calcium is the other biggie worth knowing about. So to find out about the best calcium-rich foods to include in your diet, watch this video next and I'll see you there.